Alright, here's the question. Um, so that he's asking, this person's offered a position in security, and he's saying, do I recommend the job? And if so, can you describe what a day in the job was like for you? Alright, so security. So I used to work security before I got into law enforcement. And then now I'm teaching fitness and martial arts. Alright, so security, the job itself, I think is a great job, but the pay is the problem. Security officers, they don't get paid much. Say that's the main drawback. The next level after security would be looking into law enforcement, and then you would get paid the amount of money that you deserve, and with that comes the status and the title, but then there's a lot of ego and pride as well, you know. But the security, what I like about it, it's not as much ego and pride. It's a lot more humble. Um, you'll meet a lot of, people, that are more humble in the security. Security, you got a lot of free time to be creative. That's what I liked about the job a lot. There's a lot of times security jobs, they'll make you work like a lot of odd hours. You gotta be okay with that. But with the odd hours comes benefits. Like you might be working midnights, for example, from 11 p.m. until 7 in the morning. And during that time, there's really minimal activity, and you got a lot of time to be creative, to be silent, to meditate, um, even exercise potentially. Um, you you got a lot of time to read. Um, you could talk on the phone. You know what I mean? Now with the internet on the phones, I mean you could surf the internet too. And with these tablets, you could go on the internet and watch YouTube videos. Basically, you're getting paid to surf the internet, to read, to educate yourself. You could draw. You could write your own book. You could write poetry. You could write, create music. I mean, there's so many things that you're allowed to do um, when you have that type of flexibility and that type of those type of working hours where you're allowed to have just a lot of time to yourself. You know, you're getting paid to do things that you normally would do on a day-to-day basis. Now, say you work 5 days, there might be 3 days where you're actually working like the day shift, and then you have to be a little bit more attentive because there's a lot of people walking around and watching you. And then maybe 2 days out of the week you'll work the nights, and then now you get a lot of time for yourself. That's what I really liked about the job, is it gave a lot of room for self-reflection, for building upon your creativities, a lot of time to study, a lot of time to educate yourself and just really develop yourself. You know, rarely do you ever find any job like that. Most of these jobs out there, it's a lot of sales jobs where you constantly gotta try to sell things to people and bother people, call people, and beg people for money. And you know, these other jobs, they don't really let you like work on your own development. And security jobs, you know, a lot of times you find the right security job, you get that flexibility. I mean, you could literally like you could watch YouTube videos for 4 hours straight. You could watch some of these jobs. You could watch the movies. You could listen to music. You could talk with your friend on the phone. Um, like there's just so much you could do. Now if you got a security job where you're like working in a courtroom and you're constantly like searching people, and that's all you do for 8 hours, like you're like checking people's bags and patting people down, and that's all you do, then that security job may not, and I wouldn't like that. But there's certain security jobs out there where you have a lot of time to develop yourself. And essentially there's police jobs that are like these security jobs. There's police jobs that are just basically a glorified security guard. You're pretty much getting paid triple the amount of money or quadruple the amount of money for doing the same thing that a security guard does, which is basically, staying low and, you know, just being there in case something happens. I mean, I work out at the lake all the time, and there's a lot of times there's these lifeguards that just hang out by the lake, and they're just nobody's even swimming, but they're just hanging out there in case somebody drowns or is about to drown. They're there to save them, and they're getting paid to just lounge around and just do nothing. So guard, jobs like lifeguard, security guard, some of these glorified police officers, glorified security guards that are police officers, supposedly. I mean, you're getting paid money to just do nothing, and some of these jobs, is, if you're the type of person that that has no problem finding something to occupy your time, then it's a great job for you. Now, typical day on the job depends on what kind of security job it is, but for me, it's like, there's a difference between the day shift and the night shift. But the day shift, you just get there, and then a lot of times you gotta work 8 hours straight. You don't really get any breaks. You just work 8 hours straight, and your break is pretty much the job. I mean, you can snack whenever you want. You can have snacks at your desk or something like that. When there's people around during the daytime, you might have to do certain duties like checking the parking spots to make sure that there's no cars that are parked there that shouldn't be there. You might be checking people's mail in and stuff like that. You might be opening doors for people, doing your security checks. And then in between that time, you could read a book. You could read like 30 minutes straight, and then after that, you do your security checks. You might answer some phone calls, and then you read your book again, and then another 30 minutes you read your book, and you do your security checks, and then that's pretty much very low key. When you work the night shift, then you literally might be doing your own thing for like 5-6 hours, just doing your own thing. A lot of time to read, so you could stock up on books and just read a bunch of books. You know what I mean? If you like to read, like I said, you have no problem finding something to do that you enjoy, um, then I say that job is a good job. A lot of time for yourself, to develop yourself. You know, it allows you, you know, the opportunity to get paid for things that you would love to do, like reading or writing, you know, and even just using the internet. You know, getting paid to use the internet, getting paid to read, getting paid to write. It's a beautiful thing. You know, and there are jobs out there, like security, that'll give you that opportunity. But like I said, you know, the pay is not that great. That's the problem, you know. But if you do get into law enforcement, it becomes, some of these agencies, it's like a glorified security guard. Literally, they're getting paid like $100,000 a year or more to just basically, like, almost do nothing. And same thing with firefighters. Firefighters, they have a lot of time to just do nothing. You know, so these people could either sit around and gossip with each other and play like video games on their cell phones, or they could use that time to develop themselves, read some books that will help better, you know, enhance their spirit, um, and they could develop their creativities. So jobs like a security guard, firefighter, police officer, lifeguard, you know, a lot of these, you know, these jobs, you know, you find the right place, give you a lot of time to work on your intellectual and spiritual development. And you know, if you're a person that values that 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 aspect, then it's a great job. A lot of times it might take an introvert to kind of appreciate that. Um, Extroverts might want like more interaction with the public, you know, and they want to get out there and meet people and all this other stuff. But there's security jobs out there where they make you work like late hours, and sometimes there's like barely any people around. It's just you, and you're just pretty much there, just in case something goes wrong. You're there, and in the meantime, you got a lot of time um, to be on your own. So that's what the job is, and I do recommend the job. You know, I recommend people to get into security. You know, enjoy the job, and if you can, then you could go further with it and get into the law enforcement. But there's a lot of politics in the law enforcement, and you know, a lot of corruption. You know, there's really not much politics and corruption in security, but there's a lot of politics and corruption in the law enforcement that is a big challenge. But security is a great job. It's just the pay is not too great.